The question I keep hearing is what happened with private equity associates who were applying to business school this year? And really, this might be you. You might have heard of peers. You might have seen different trends at your firm or other firms. And it really was, from everything I'm hearing, it was a tougher year for applicants than usual who are coming from the private equity space. Not to say that there were lots of success stories. There certainly have been at Gatehouse. But as I field free consultations and talk to people who've kind of seen some pretty bad upsets, they're wondering what's going on. And I would chalk it up to two things. One, the first kind of steady thing that's going on is that every year there are more MBAs that graduate, and then eventually more of those MBAs either decide to start their own fund or spin off from an existing fund to create a new fund. So the number of niche private equity firms that are popping up just keeps growing, as do the class sizes at the existing private equity firms. So there are more and more associates for whom suddenly business school might actually even be on the radar. That's number one, that's sort of ever present. To complement that or to offset that is the reality that business schools love associates from private equity. You have such exceptional business training. You have client skills when you're dealing with portcos or management teams. You can work under pressure. Your analytics are bar none. You're really strong candidates who the business schools really look to educate and draw along the rest of the class who might not have that just general business training that you've acquired in your role. So that's the good news. And even if you look at it, the percent of any of the top business schools that are made up of private equity associates is either the number one or number two source of all of the class. Somewhere in between the range of 15 to close to 30% of the class might be private equity associates. So there are a lot of spots. However, I think what was going on this past year was twofold. Number one, the application volume was just up. And when application volumes are up, it actually hurts the private equity associates. And the reason that is, at least my philosophy, my belief is that, look, the schools know in any year they're going to get a fresh crop of brilliant, smart, active private equity associates in the pipeline. And if that means that in a certain year where they get more applicants from other fields, technology, operations, manufacturing, they can kind of maybe cut their losses a little bit and gain some space by taking fewer private equity associates in those years to make spots for more of these other candidates. So really, the unfortunate reality is that when application volumes are up, that's going to hurt private equity associates. That's number one. The second thing that is going on is perhaps, and we certainly heard this, one professor shared this with somebody who was on the wait list at HBS, the schools were a little gun shy when it came to private equity associates just because of what was going on the recruiting end of business school. The same held for consultants, management consultants who were applying as well. But the schools decided to place an emphasis on those who had direct operational startup or sort of industry experience. So less emphasis on those advisory roles or investing roles, such as those that are in private equity. So if, there is a bright side to all this, but if you kind of got caught up in applications this year, for those of you who succeeded, kudos to you, well done. To those of you who didn't, really understand that a lot of this was just macro things that are going on in the market. And if you are thinking about applying this coming year, my hypothesis is that application volumes are going to be down. That is because of what's going on in the kind of macro world, where though the market uncertainty will definitely cause some layoffs, I think what it's really going to do is for people that are comfortable in a job, they're going to stay put. So while this past year was tougher for private equity associates, I actually think this coming year is going to be a little bit easier for private equity associates. In no way does that mean this is going to be a walk in the park, easy breezy, I'm in. Never, ever. But these schools are exceptional at really teasing out the superstars, and they never reward laziness when it comes to their applications. But if you execute well, I would say your chances of success are going to be higher this year versus last year. If you have additional questions about your candidacy, whether or not to apply this year or next year, if you're currently in private equity, if you're currently thinking about a secondment or gaining more operational experience, or even how to do that in your current role, reach out to Gatehouse. We work with private equity associates every year, and we're happy to share our expertise with you as you consider your road forward. Good luck.